Hey there, Iron Warriors. Welcome to Best Steel Muscles. Today we're diving deep into a topic that's got a lot of people scratching their heads. Powerlifter versus bodybuilder. What's the real difference? You've probably heard these terms thrown around the gym and wondered what they're all about. Well, don't sweat it, you're not alone. The truth is, many folks think it's all the same thing, but spoiler alert, it's not. Picture this. You've been hitting the gym hard for months, grinding every day. Then suddenly you realize your results don't match your goals. Frustrating, right? That's where understanding this difference can be a total game changer. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down this mystery for you. I'll show you how these athletes train, eat, and compete. And the best part? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which path to follow to crush your goals. So, are you ready to transform your workouts and your results? Let's dive in. Alright, let's dive headfirst into the world of powerlifters. So, what the heck is a powerlifter? Imagine that guy or gal you see at the gym, face scrunched in total concentration, about to lift a weight that would make most of us quake just looking at it. That's a powerlifter in action. These folks are the true monsters of raw strength people. Their goal is simple and straightforward. Lift the most weight possible in 3 basic exercises. The squat, bench press, and deadlift. No frills, no posing in front of the mirror. It's pure strength and determination. Now don't think they just show up and lift weights. There's a method to the madness. A powerlifter's training is focused on developing maximum strength. They spend hours upon hours perfecting their technique in these 3 main movements. It's almost like they're artists, except instead of a brush, they use a barbell. Every rep is calculated, every set is planned with a purpose. They're not there to get jacked or shredded, though that often happens as a side effect. Their thing is making that bar go up, even if it's just 1 more millimeter. And speaking of bodies, a powerlifter's physique is something else. These guys are usually robust, with a dense, solid structure. Don't expect to see those super defined muscles or a slim waist. Their body is a machine designed for one thing, generating force. Often they even carry a bit more body fat because at the end of the day, what matters is how much they can lift, not how they look shirtless at the beach. What drives a powerlifter is that adrenaline rush of surpassing their own limits. Every workout is a battle against the weights and against themselves. They live for that moment when they add 1 more plate to the bar and think, can I do this? And when they do, buddy, the feeling is indescribable. It's like they're proving to themselves and the world that limits are meant to be broken. But don't be fooled into thinking it's just about showing up and lifting heavy. Powerlifting is a sport that demands insane mental dedication. The concentration has to be total. 1 second of distraction and you could seriously hurt yourself. That's why these guys are masters of focus and discipline. They know that each rep, each set, each workout is a brick in building their total strength. Now let's talk about bodybuilders, folks. These guys are the sculptors of their own bodies, the artists of muscle. When you think of a bodybuilder, you probably picture that imposing figure, all muscular, with veins popping and defined muscles that look like they've been carved out of marble. And you know what? You're not wrong. The main goal of a bodybuilder is to shape their body to achieve a specific physical form. They couldn't care less about how much weight they can lift. What matters is how they look in the mirror and on stage. It's all about aesthetics, symmetry, and proportion. They want every muscle in their body to be visible, defined, and harmonious with the rest. A bodybuilder's training is a science in itself. They don't just focus on 3 movements like powerlifters. No, these guys have a huge arsenal of exercises. They work each muscle from various angles using a wide variety of machines, free weights, and even their own body weight. The goal? To sculpt every bit of their body. And don't think it's just about hitting the gym and pumping iron hard. There's a whole method behind it. They manipulate training volume, intensity, time under tension, everything calculated to stimulate maximum muscle growth. Sometimes they spend hours in the gym doing set after set of different exercises for the same muscle group. It's like ant work, molding the body bit by bit, day after day. Now let's talk about diet. Oh man, a bodybuilder's diet is next level. These guys take that saying, you are what you eat, seriously. Every meal is planned down to the last detail. Protein, carbs, fat, everything is measured and weighed. They eat at specific times, sometimes having 6 or 7 meals a day. And supplements, part of the package. Whey protein, creatine, amino acids, pre-workout, the list is long. A bodybuilder's physique is unique. While powerlifters are robust and compact, bodybuilders aim for that more aesthetic appearance. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, thick legs, defined arms. They work to create that V shape that everyone admires. And when competition time comes around, that's when things get even more intense. They enter a phase called cutting, where the goal is to lose fat and get the muscles even more defined. This is when you see those guys with muscles so defined you can count every fiber. But don't be fooled into thinking it's easy. Being a bodybuilder requires insane discipline. It's not just about training hard and eating right. It's about doing this day after day, year after year. It means saying no to a lot of things. No pizza with friends on weekends, no staying out late partying. The focus has to be total. And there's the mental side too. Bodybuilding isn't just about muscles, it's about confidence, determination, and resilience. These guys spend hours looking in the mirror, analyzing every detail, always looking to improve. It's a sport that can be pretty lonely at times and requires incredible mental strength. Alright folks, now let's put the training of powerlifters and bodybuilders side by side to see what's up. It's like comparing apples and oranges, same family but totally different flavors. Let's break it down. The powerlifter? This guy is focused on lifting weight, a lot of weight. Their training revolves around those three main movements we talked about: squat, bench press, and deadlift. They spend hours and hours perfecting their technique in these exercises. It's almost an obsession. They work with super heavy loads and few repetitions. We're talking about sets of 1 to 5 reps with weight close to the maximum they can lift. It's intense, it's heavy, it's hardcore. Now the bodybuilder? This dude is more concerned with sculpting their entire body. Their workout is a completely different trip. While the powerlifter is there doing 3 exercises, the bodybuilder is doing about 15 or more in one training session. They work each muscle from various angles using a huge variety of exercises. Sets of 8 to 12 reps are common, sometimes even more. The focus here is on training volume, not necessarily maximum weight. A powerlifter usually trains each main movement 2 or 3 times a week. They need more recovery time because the effort is so intense. The bodybuilder? This guy is in the gym almost every day. They usually split the workout by muscle groups, like chest and triceps day, back and biceps day, and so on. While a powerlifter might spend 2 hours just training squats, a bodybuilder will do leg press, leg extension, squats, lunges, and a bunch more leg exercises in a single workout. The time under tension issue is also quite different. The powerlifter wants to move the weight as fast as possible, while maintaining technique, of course. The bodybuilder often does the movement very slowly, especially in the negative part of the exercise. They're trying to feel the muscle work, you know? Sometimes you see a bodybuilder doing a rep that lasts 4 or 5 seconds. For a powerlifter, that would be a nightmare. And there's the variation thing too. The powerlifter doesn't vary the exercises much. They might do some variations of the 3 main movements like front squats or incline bench press, but the main focus is always those 3. The bodybuilder? This guy is always changing things up. One week he does barbell bench press, the next with dumbbells, then moves to the machine. They believe this variation helps stimulate the muscle in different ways and prevent stagnation. Another crucial difference is the focus on muscle failure. The bodybuilder often takes sets to failure when they can't do any more reps. Sometimes they even do advanced techniques like drop sets or forced reps. The powerlifter? No way. Taking the muscle to failure can compromise technique and increase the risk of injury, something they can't afford. Training frequency is also quite different. A powerlifter might train 3 or 4 times a week, focusing on one main movement per workout. A bodybuilder usually trains 5 or 6 times a week, sometimes even twice a day when preparing for a competition. Diet fueling the machine. Let's talk food, people. Because let's be honest, both powerlifters and bodybuilders are true eating machines. But the way they approach diet? As different as their training goals. Let's break this down. Starting with powerlifters, these guys have a pretty straightforward approach when it comes to food. Their motto could be, eat to get strong. They don't care about getting ripped or having 6-pack abs. The focus is on having energy to lift those insane weights and recover from intense workouts. So what does this mean in practice? A lot of food, my friend, a lot. Powerlifters usually consume an absurd amount of calories. We're talking 3,000, 4,000, sometimes even more than 5,000 calories a day, depending on the size of the athlete. They need all this fuel to handle the heavy training and to build and maintain muscle mass. And guess what? They don't count every calorie. The approach is more relaxed, as long as they're eating enough to maintain strength. Now let's talk macronutrients. Protein? Of course, there's plenty. But powerlifters aren't as obsessed with it as bodybuilders. They eat a good amount of protein, yes, but they don't skimp on carbs either. After all, carbs are energy, and energy is what they need most to lift those monstrous weights. Fat? Also on the menu without fear. Some even prefer a diet higher in fats to keep hormone levels high. Now bodybuilders? Oh man, it's another planet. These guys' diet is practically an exact science. Every calorie is counted, every gram of protein, carbohydrate, and fat is meticulously measured. It's a precision that would make any lab jealous. The goal here isn't just to get strong, it's to sculpt the body with the lowest possible body fat percentage, while maintaining or even increasing muscle mass. A typical bodybuilder will eat 5, 6, sometimes up to 8 meals a day. Everything planned down to the smallest detail. Protein in every meal, that's a rule. We're talking about 2 to 3 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, sometimes even more. Chicken, fish, lean meat, eggs, whey protein. The variety is actually quite large, but always focusing on lean protein sources. Carbs? That's where the magic happens. Bodybuilders manipulate carb intake according to their training phase. In the bulking phase, when they want to gain mass, carbs are welcome. But when competition approaches and it's time to cut, carbohydrates are drastically reduced. Some even do ketogenic diets or carb cycling to achieve that insane definition. And fats? Bodybuilders are very cautious with fats. They include them in the meal plan, of course, because they're essential for health and hormone production, but in very controlled amounts. No saturated fat if they can avoid it. It's all about good fats. Olive oil, avocado, nuts, salmon, all measured out. Another glaring difference is the seasonality issue. Powerlifters tend to maintain a more constant diet throughout the year. Bodybuilders? These guys live in cycles. They have the bulking phase, when they eat more to gain mass, and the cutting phase, when they reduce calories to get defined. It's like two different lifestyles in one athlete. And we can't forget about supplementation. Both powerlifters and bodybuilders use supplements, but bodybuilders take this to another level. Whey protein, casein, BCAAs, glutamine, pre-workout, fat burners. The list is endless. Powerlifters are more basic. Usually a good whey, creatine, and maybe some amino acids do the trick. Competition, where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk competitions, folks. This is where things get really interesting because it's where all the hard work of powerlifters and bodybuilders is put to the test. And believe me, the differences are as stark as a powerlifter's yell when lifting 660 pounds. Starting with powerlifters, their competitions are practically a show of brute force. Picture this. You have 3 chances in each of the 3 main movements: squat, bench press, and deadlift. The goal? Lift as much weight as possible. Simple as that. It doesn't matter if your belly is hanging out or if your legs look like tree trunks. What counts is how much you can lift. The atmosphere at a powerlifting competition is electrifying. The athlete steps onto the platform, gets into position, and everyone goes silent. Then comes that moment of tension. Will they be able to lift it or not? When the weight comes off the ground, the crowd goes wild. It's pure adrenaline. The judges keep an eye on every technical detail. In the squat, you have to go down to a certain depth. In the bench press, the bar has to touch your chest and go up in a controlled manner. In the deadlift, you have to fully extend your body at the end of the movement. Any slip up and the lift is invalidated. There's no middle ground. Either you lift the weight following all the rules or you don't lift. The winner, it's the one who can get the highest total in the 3 movements combined. Simple as that. There's no judge giving points for presentation or symmetry. It's pure math. Whoever lifted more wins. Period. Now let's move on to bodybuilders. My friend, it's a whole different world. A bodybuilding competition is practically a show. The athletes go on stage tanned, shaved, sometimes even with makeup. It's almost like a fashion show, but with way more muscles. The judging? Totally subjective. The judges are looking for the complete package: muscle size, symmetry, proportion, definition, and even how the athlete presents themselves on stage. It's not enough to have the biggest muscles if they're not harmonious with each other. Competitors go through several rounds of evaluation. There are the mandatory poses, where everyone does the same poses so judges can directly compare them. Then comes the free posing round, usually accompanied by music, where each athlete shows off their best features. And don't think it's just about showing up and flexing your muscles. The preparation for a bodybuilding competition is insane. In the weeks leading up to the event, athletes enter a peak week, where they manipulate their diet and water intake to get their body in exact condition on competition day. It's a science in itself. Another crucial difference. While in powerlifting you compete alone against the weight, in bodybuilding you're literally side by side with your competitors. Imagine the psychological pressure. You're there, practically naked, being directly compared to the guy next to you. It's not for everyone. The categories are also quite different. In powerlifting, you compete within your weight class. In bodybuilding, besides weight, there are divisions by height, age, and even the level of naturalness of the athlete. That is, whether or not they use certain substances to enhance performance. Competition prep is also a whole other chapter. A powerlifter will focus on reaching their peak strength on competition day. A bodybuilder? This guy spends months preparing to be in their best possible visual condition on that specific day. It's a game of perfect timing. And there's the frequency issue. A powerlifter can compete several times a year if they want. A professional bodybuilder? They usually do 1 or 2 important competitions per year max. The physical and mental toll of preparation is so intense that it needs months of recovery. Benefits and challenges, the flip side of the iron. Alright folks, let's unwrap this whole deal about the benefits and challenges of powerlifting and bodybuilding. It's like comparing dark chocolate with milk chocolate. They're both delicious, but each has its own flavor and its own consequences. Let's start with powerlifting. The biggest benefit? Raw strength, my friend. We're talking about getting ridiculously strong. When you train to lift enormous weights, your body has no choice but to get stronger. This translates into better bone density, more resilient muscles, and off-the-charts functional capacity. Imagine being able to help your buddy move his couch without even breaking a sweat. Yeah, that's the powerlifter life. Another plus for powerlifting is simplicity. You only need to focus on 3 main movements. This makes training pretty straightforward and easy to measure progress. You always know exactly where you are and where you're going. Plus, since you're not so worried about appearance, there's less aesthetic pressure. You can eat more freely and don't need to stress so much about ultra-restrictive diets. But it's not all roses. The risk of injury in powerlifting is real. We're talking about lifting very, very heavy weights. If your technique isn't perfect, you can seriously hurt yourself. There's also wear and tear on the joints over time. Knees, back, and shoulders usually suffer the most. Another thing is that powerlifting might not give you that ripped look that many people seek in the gym. You'll get crazy strong, but you might end up looking more bulky than defined. And if you like variety in your workouts, you might find powerlifting a bit monotonous since the focus is always on the same exercises. Now let's look at bodybuilding. The most obvious benefit? The physique, right? Those who train in bodybuilding can usually sculpt their body in a way that seems almost superhuman. You gain total control over your body composition, being able to increase specific muscles and reduce fat in a very localized way. Bodybuilding also offers a deep understanding of how the body works. You learn about nutrition, physiology, biomechanics. It's almost like getting a practical degree in exercise science. And there's the mental benefit too. The discipline you develop to follow a strict diet and intense training routine ends up reflecting in other areas of life. Another plus for bodybuilding is the versatility of workouts. You're always varying exercises, techniques, intensities. This not only prevents boredom but also helps stimulate the muscle in different ways, promoting more complete development. But just like powerlifting, it also has its challenges. The aesthetic pressure can be overwhelming. You're constantly comparing yourself to others and to an ideal of perfection that's often unrealistic. This can lead to self-image problems and even eating disorders in extreme cases. The bodybuilding diet can also be very restrictive, especially close to competitions. You need to count every calorie, weigh every gram of food. This can make social life a bit complicated. No more going out for pizza with friends or having a few beers on the weekend. And there's the time issue. Bodybuilding demands many hours in the gym, many hours planning meals, many hours resting. It can be hard to balance with work, studies, and personal life. Plus, competitive bodybuilding often involves the use of substances to enhance performance, which brings its own health risks. In the end, both powerlifting and bodybuilding offer incredible benefits for those who dedicate themselves. Both will make you stronger, healthier, and more disciplined. The choice between one and the other depends a lot on your personal goals and what you value more, brute strength or muscular aesthetics. Wrapping up your path to iron greatness. Now let me ask you a question. Which side of this story grabbed you more? Did you see yourself lifting monstrous weights in a powerlifting competition or showing off perfectly defined muscles on a bodybuilding stage? Or maybe a bit of both? Tell us in the comments. Your opinion is super important and helps us create more content that you want to see. And look, if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people who, just like you, are looking to take their training to the next level. And if you're not subscribed to the Best Steel Muscles channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button right now. We're always bringing quality content about weightlifting, nutrition, supplementation, and everything else you need to reach your fitness goals. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Next week, we're bringing special content about how to build your own training routine, mixing elements of powerlifting and bodybuilding. It's going to be awesome. Remember, whatever path you choose, powerlifting, bodybuilding, or a mix of both, the important thing is to stay consistent, train smart, and always respect your body's limits. The fitness journey is a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. So that's it, Best Steel Muscles crew. I hope this video has helped you better understand these two incredible aspects of the training world. Now it's up to you. Comment below what you think, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us on this journey of overcoming and transformation. Together we'll go further and get stronger. Until the next video, and happy lifting.